Ladies and gentlemen, if I can just briefly interrupt, part of this evening is the AGM, and it's important that we know that we have a quorum, that we have at least 100 members here. Oi! This is the important bit. If you have come in and you haven't signed in at the table, which establishes that you're a member, and you'll know if you have because you will have picked up a card with a unique number, could you please do it right now?
Books are about that same thing of caring for the environment, not trying to destroy it. We've come out with a range of products that are insect friendly. So I never recommend anything that's going to wipe out various species because they will be dependent on other species being there. So if we have pests in our garden, there are predators whose whole life cycle has evolved to eat that particular pest. If you want good insects in your garden, they have to have a food source. Very important with bees, must have a food source. And they have to have it all year round. Any decent bee, unless they come from Antarctica, would be in a hive now and not come out for 2 days because it's bloody freezing. I was up in the Kimberley 3 days ago and it was glorious up there. So I have my Arctic jacket on until I acclimatise back to our fabulous spring that we're enjoying in Perth at the moment. So Jess is out the front if you've got any questions about any of the products. We use natural hormones in some of the... We have a totally different aspect about fertilising plants. It's a more natural hormonal growth substance that we use rather than the NPK stuff, which forces growth, which is not too good. Bees are actually very interesting because they can sense pollen and nectar, and they're not so attracted by colour, but they have a very interesting way of working out what's what. And I'm sure, did everyone hear the story about all the bee deaths under grevilleas about 5 years ago? It was a really, really, really hot day, and the nectar and the pollen had actually fermented in the flower, and so the bees got drunk, basically, and fell to the ground and died. And there were literally hundreds of bees, and I had no idea that they were such big drinkers. I would have invited them around to my place and gone, come on down. So bees are just part of this incredible system that we have, and they're a fascinating insect. And I don't know anywhere near as much about them as all you guys would know. So I'm looking forward to learning a lot as well, which is why it's great talking to groups, because you learn all sorts of information that you've never heard before. So when I do my talk, it will be very much about creating a natural system within your whatever your green space is, whether you've got a block, whether you've got a flat, whether you've got, a quarter acre. I have a quarter acre. And just sort of giving you some clues on what you will need to do to be able to have the best place for a hive, for bees, for native bees as well. We mustn't forget about native bees. And for birds, and a lovely spot, because we're coming into spring, apparently, and summer, best spot to have a little gin and tonic table at the end of the day. So if you have any questions, I'll just be up there and then I'll come down and do my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sabrina. Well, good evening and formally welcome to the 2021 Annual General Meeting of the Western Australian Apiarists Society. First of all, can I just have confirmation that we have a quorum? Can I have that from our secretary, who was doing the sign-in? And if you haven't signed in, even if we have a quorum, if you could still please. 117. Thank you very much. So we needed a minimum of 100 members, and we have a confirmation of a quorum. Do we have any apologies that people wish to put forward and have recorded? Yes, Ian. Dan Dowsett. Any other apologies? Okay, thank you for that. Right, we have a set agenda, and we aim to move through it pretty quickly. First of all, we have confirmation of the minutes of the annual general meeting held on Thursday, the 5th of November 2020, and those were circulated previously. Can I please have somebody move that they be accepted? Moved by John Chadwick. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Ian Beeson. All those in favour of the minutes being accepted? Anyone against? Okay, taken as unanimous. Thank you very much. I might just pause a minute and call for some assistance from our sound people and see if I can just get mic'd up rather than have this, because I have a tendency to wave my hands around and I don't want to send the mic flying. Right, I'll just tuck the wire away. There's more wire than there is chairman, so I'll just put that away. And open with the report of the committee to the annual general meeting. First of all, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we're meeting on, the Wadjuk people, and I wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. Our bee year 2020-2021 has been a very active and challenging time for WAS, and I wish to open by thanking the outgoing committee and all the people who volunteered over the year for the work they've done, both up front where they can be seen and behind the scenes. Without the myriad of contributions of these people, there would be no West Australian Apiarist Society. The WAS Constitution lays out the goals of our organisation, and in summary form these are to promote and encourage the art of responsible beekeeping, to train members in the skills of responsible beekeeping, to provide forums so that we can share information about beekeeping and bees and enjoy each other's company, and to improve people's acceptance, the public's acceptance of beekeeping as a worthwhile activity. And that includes publishing and making available information to members, and also to join with government agencies and local councils to meet common objectives in the support of beekeeping, the welfare of bees and the importance of bees in our society. I quote from the Constitution because all of those elements came into play at some point in the past year. Particularly through training. Training has continued to be a major focus, and in 2021 WAS provided training for 308 beekeepers. 163 did a 101 Introduction to Responsible Beekeeping course in Kensington. A further 36 did the 101 course in Bunbury as part of our ongoing and important regional work I was going to say regional outreach, but that implies that they're not part of us, and they very much are. The 201 Advanced Beekeeping course had 114 participants, and 31 people took up the inaugural introduction to the Flow Hive course. And on behalf of WAS, I wish to express my gratitude to Wayne Passmore, who has diligently led and coordinated the 2021 training program, and to Jenny Boylan, who has managed the scheduling, bookings, wait lists, and a constant flow of emails, as well as ensuring that lunches were organised, suits sorted, cleaned, and made ready for hire. And to all the trainers and the people who've assisted in the development and delivery of our training program. And I know it's dangerous to always single people out, but I do want to particularly acknowledge the work done by Ted Mean, Soren Holberg and Gerard D'Souza in designing and leading the Flow Hive training program. Our training apiary, of course, goes hand in hand with our training, and it's an essential part of our program because what we do that's so unique is offer hands-on training with a very small number of people around each hive. And as you would all be aware, earlier this year, the town of Victoria Park advised that we would have to vacate the Kensington sandpit, which we'd used for approximately 3 years, and we were asked to vacate it due to a program of spraying which is preceding a large revegetation program. On behalf of WAS, I thank the town of Victoria Park for having hosted the training apiary and for being flexible as we worked out what our next steps should be. Fortunately, after only brief negotiations, the Department of Primary Industry and Regional Development, or DPIRD as most would know it, agreed to host our apiary at the Kensington facility, which is where we also do our theoretical training. So there's a nice marry-up. Setting up the apiary grounds meant setting up the grounds, coordinating a bobcat to go in, level it out, get rid of weeds, put down an appropriate surface. It was a big job. Then there was moving the hives and equipment, and then getting the hives themselves ready for the training program and trying to keep them going, have a move and keep them going in winter is a big ask. But they're ready for the training program, which, by the way, commences in just 2 days' time. And it has been a huge effort. And I congratulate everyone who assisted, and a big thank you to John Nucky and Wayne Passmore, who provided the coordination that enabled it all to happen. As well as our training and our apiary going, of course, we need communication. It's essential that it happens, and communicating with members is essential to making WAS work. Smoke Signals has provided a constant link between members and the committee and provided an excellent opportunity to promote and inform members about developments and happenings in your society and in the WA beekeeping community. With meetings cancelled due to COVID lockdowns and some people reluctant to attend meetings or bee buddy groups, Smoke Signals became even more important. And more important as a way of holding us together. And I tip my hat to our Secretary Lyndon Hall, who, with her off-sider Ronnie Rowe, has ensured that 11 times a year Smoke Signal comes out, regardless of how Mark McGowan shut the borders. Nothing could stop her. And she's ensured that each edition has articles of interest and news that is directly relevant to WAS members. The email format used for Smoke Signals has worked well and been developed over time and worked on, and the addition of articles from Stan Taylor and the Meter Beekeeper section have ensured that each edition includes information of interest to members. So a special thanks to Lyndon, because that's been an incredibly important way for us all to link up. Information technology, which is not something I really understand, has also provided us with the tools to reach people far and wide. WAS operates 2 Facebook sites, one that is open to the public and one that is for members only. They've been heavily promoted in 2021. The members-only page has grown to 390 members and has proved to be a really safe place for members to ask questions, and get answers. And my thanks to Jenny Boylan for performing the role of administrator of our Facebook page. Also, the WAS website has been upgraded this year. It's essential to keep a website fresh, and that work has been done both in terms of appearance and the amount of information that it contains. Of particular significance has been the addition of recordings of speakers presenting at our monthly meetings and the ongoing addition of new reference material. I do encourage everyone here and all our members to check in regularly, see what has been uploaded, and please give us feedback if you believe that there are things that can be improved or that we could add to our website. You can always contact us at a meeting here, but go to the website and there's our email, info@was. Quite happy to receive your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions. In fact, we'd like to have them. Our other link up, of course, is through meetings. Both formal and informal, these are an important way for us to share our information and perhaps more importantly, provide forums so members can discuss and share information and stories about beekeeping and bees and just to enjoy each other's company. Our monthly meeting works very professionally and there are a number of people who ensure this happens. And again, I don't want to mention all those who get involved, but I must acknowledge the excellent advanced planning and detailed on-the-night scheduling of John Nucky. Meetings don't just organise themselves, and John has been crucial in ensuring that we have speakers, that the IT and streaming systems are in place, and that the program works to a timetable. Big thanks to John Nucky. And I'd also just like to thank those members who've either presented or assisted us to secure presenters for all our sessions, for the Beginners Corner, the Advanced Group and the main meeting. Again, if you have suggestions for speakers or suggestions for topics, please let us know and we can see how we can go about incorporating them and if they might fit into our programming. If there are topics that you have burning, do let us know. Those who have been attending the advanced group would be aware that this group is currently redesigning how it functions. This process is going to be ongoing in 21-22, and I encourage everyone involved to contribute and of course to respect the contributions of others and call on all those people attending to help it grow into a really useful forum. And the other important meeting we have is the Bee Buddy groups. On behalf of all the groups, I wish to thank Lisa Bastian for the work that she does, the operation and promotion of each group, and her management of the technology behind the advertising and the invitation process is greatly valued. It says something for the fellowship and informal links that we were building up, that at the end of 2021, 15 Bee Buddy groups operating in metropolitan and country locations. Please use the website to find the one nearest to you if you have not been to your local Bee Buddy group yet. The position taken this year by the committee has been to view the monthly meetings and Bee Buddy groups as partnering each other, with one providing the formal links to members and the other providing a less structured environment with more opportunity for fellowship and perhaps a bit of bragging and a few stories, all of which can be great fun. And this is the strategy that will continue into 2021-22 with the formal meetings and the Bee Buddy groups working in synchronisation. And at a regional level, we have 2 chapters which have done terrific work, one servicing Greater Bunbury and one servicing Margaret River. They've built themselves up over this past year, and I thank conveners Debbie Teal in Bunbury and Peter Wallace in Margaret River for all their work. The chapters provide an opportunity for regional members to have speakers, and in terms of our interaction with the broader community, the committee has also worked hard and continued to reach out to the community in its promotion of responsible urban beekeeping. We've made submissions on the keeping of bees to several councils that were reviewing their local laws and attended a meeting with the WA Local Government Association to discuss how our responsible beekeeping guidelines could be advanced. This is a work in progress and will be for some time. But with the guidelines in hand, we are well equipped to advance our cause for more realistic local laws that take into account how bees work, rather than assuming that simply by putting them at a certain distance, you've achieved what you need to do. The committee also continued to liaise with BICWA, the Bee Industry Council of WA, and took up the opportunity to participate in the Bees to Honey Festival, which was held at Gidgegannup in May. The Bees to Honey Festival provided an opportunity to promote WAS, and I'd just like to say that it was the first outing for our new banners, which you can see out tonight. And tonight we also have our pull-up banner, and my thanks to designer Brendan Hibbert, who is a member who did all the design work on our pull-up banner on a volunteer basis. So thank you very much, Brendan. Greatly appreciated. And I'm going to move on the next point, and just to say, what does the committee know about you and what might the future hold? So I'm going to quickly touch on the members' survey that was held this year and give you some feedback so that you have an idea of what information has come into the committee and where we might go next year. So just up behind me, the purpose, and I won't read from every PowerPoint, but just to say that in 2021, we conducted the survey, it's our second survey, of all members with the aim, well, all members were invited, with the aim of learning about what your views and experiences are, and to provide the committee with guidance for planning programs and events. We had made progress from the inaugural one in 2020, from the 2020 survey, and you can see the main points that came through was to increase the information sharing opportunities about how others did beekeeping, and to acknowledge, as we went through it, that perhaps not all beekeepers are male. The 2020 survey also let the committee know that it was time to expand our thinking around training, how we communicated, and how we use resources like Facebook and our website, hence my emphasising those in my report to you. What we have learnt, well, in many ways the 2021 survey confirmed what was found in 2020, and that's no surprise. You wouldn't expect a big change in a year, but it was important to refresh our information. And I think what's crucial is it shows that many of our members have just a few years beekeeping experience, that they are genuine hobbyists with a small number of hives, and that they are actively taking advantage of bee buddy groups and information sharing opportunities provided through our IT platforms. There are, as you can see up there, I'll just quickly to give you time, but over 50% attending bee buddy groups. People generally satisfied with the guest speakers and content of the meeting, and networking opportunities, which I think is incredibly important to all of us as hobbyists, because it's not our day job, and it can feel sometimes like it, if you don't have someone to share with, it can be very hard to build up that knowledge. And finally, of course, the information platforms that I was talking about earlier. Our YouTube channel has been a whole game changer for us. Thank you, COVID. We've had to find a new way. But we are slowly building up a library of some great speakers and on topics that often are quite relevant. For example, the talks we've had on swarming. That's something that will never go out of date. We might add our knowledge, but these sort of things have been essential. That people valued the training program also came through, and the fact that the majority of respondents had attended the training program at some time shows us that people are willing to take up that challenge, and that we need to focus very strongly on keeping the program current, for example, the flow hides, but also to pick up on new ideas. And again, you've got to tell us what new ideas you want. Do you want more of the basics around biosecurity, or do you want to be getting training around beekeeping in different formats? For instance, I was in Tasmania a couple of weeks ago, and I visited a honey outlet, which is attached to a beekeeper, and he was producing their famous leatherwood honey not using ideals, which, if you've not seen them, are only about just over half the size of our full depth supers. Not using a queen excluder, which they referred to as a honey excluder. So there are people doing things differently. Perhaps we need to explore those ideas here, but you've got to help tell us that. And can I just say that the survey also showed that there is still a lack of awareness of one of our great member benefits, which is the WAS insurance, which protects members in a range of situations. I would encourage you to, I'm not going to try and give a talk on insurance right now. My job right now is to wind up. But I do encourage you to check out what that offers you. It is great, and what's more, you are making a contribution. You are paying for your premium each year. So look at what you're getting. But that information is on the website. So our key learnings from what we've found here. It's to tell you that, again, and I've said it several times, but the website has additions of smoke signals. It'll tell you about the insurance. It'll tell you about finding a bee buddy. It'll introduce you to information on provide an entry to our YouTube channel, which is for members only. We will be working as a committee to maintain the organisation and support for the Perth meetings, the bee buddy groups and the chapters. And as those other points make out, to trial perhaps small group discussions at Perth meetings, provide information on diverse and emerging beekeeping methods, look at what we can do around enhanced access to EpiPens, and maybe see how we go. I mean, you can see up there's one, photographs on the website to assist with inspecting frames. So there's a whole new challenge, how we might present that on the website. That challenge was taken up some time ago in the training forum, and many of you may have seen the frames that come out of the box and have the pictures of what you would be looking. There's pictures of the honey, there's the brood, there's the one that we know of that has the queen on it, which is always great playing Find the Queen. But these are things that we will explore. Increased training opportunities. Training has come through again and again, and then probably, given the consistency, we'll probably give people a break and move it to every 2 years. But that is up there to give you an idea of what your committee will look at during the year. If you think there should be more, or you want to inform that or take part, not only are you welcome to join committee meetings, they're open to all, but I encourage you to keep these in mind and contact us. Finally, it's a lot of work to be on the committee, and sometimes the meetings lead to some very interesting discussions, and sometimes it's just a bit of grind to make sure something happens for members. Can I invite all members of the committee who are here to stand, please? And I'd ask if you... So, thank you very much. And that ends the report of the committee for 2021. And I now invite the Treasurer to come up and present his report.
It's great to see such a great crowd. I know this is the excitement part of the night. Last year was a fun year. There I was in May, June, trying to look into the crystal ball, working out what to do with COVID, how many people were going to join, how many weren't, what's it going to cost, what's the IT going to be. The year worked out pretty well. We budgeted to lose $22,000. That was due to a reduction of membership and the reduction in the cost of membership. But we only lost $13,000. So I was pretty happy about that. Just as a summary, at the end of the financial year, I was just over $107,000 in the bank. That did include nearly $13,000 of this current year's fees. And as you can see, it's just $115 per member. So when people get excited and say, what are you doing with all that money? It's $115 per member. What's happening? More expense on IT, I think. It'll go one way. Oh, hang on. Can you flick it? No, forward. It worked on my computer. Oh, it's okay. Right. The wonders. So looking at income a little bit, as you can see, as I highlighted, reduction in membership fees by $10 across family and the single membership. There's going to be a reduction in our income. Course training, thank you, Wayne. Fantastic increase in value for us. They were the major things that drove income for the year. Expenses. Wayne, you spend too much on training. It's all good. But you can see, there's also a large increase in IT. This equipment, the streaming, the people that help us behind the scenes, the people that have to be paid to do stuff because we don't have the technical skills, all adds to this. But WAS has been able to provide a service for the year. And when we look back and think where we were a year ago and what we've achieved, I think it's a fairly good outcome. Just where we are with the money in the bank. As I highlighted, there was a reduction of $13,000 in the year. The other big thing that we did in the year also was change banks. NAB wasn't looking after us that well. Bank West said, please come to us, and so that's what we did. And as you can see, there's $13,000 worth of accrued fees for the current year, and a nice healthy balance. For the year, what I do, and two other people who finally do the approvals, because I just put everything in and then people approve it. So it's not just me spending the money, other people are too. But nearly 600 income banking accounts, and some of those are multiples. Like when people pay online, I get a Stripe line item that might have 15 or 20 costs against it. So they all need to be cost coded, and about 430 outgoings. So all those people who get paid. What are we doing this year? So again, mid-June, there I am with the crystal ball going, what's COVID going to do to us? Are we going to end up like New South Wales or Victoria? So I budget nearly $110,000 worth of income, expenses nearly $110,000 or just over $110,000. And if I'm that close, standing here in next year, of being only $1,100 difference, I'll be very happy. but that's generally where the budget sits for the current year. In that, people would realise that they're paying back full fees that they were previous to last year. We're expecting 1,000 members by the end of the financial year. Hopefully that will happen. Last month, 113 joined, so it's not too bad for August. Increased costs, the insurance went up. I don't know anybody else is following insurance costs around the place. Doesn't matter what it is, it's risen significantly. Fortunately, it went up only about 20%. Again, external PR, admin and IT consultancy, as we expand, we need those skills to come in to make all this kind of thing happen. And the apiary capital, as Stephen talked about, with respect to the change that we went from the sandpit to deep herb. This I thought was quite important, the potential things that we may need our funds for in the coming year. We hope that these don't happen, but at least we've got the contingency to do something about it if they do happen. I'm not going to run through them all, but I think they're pretty self-explanatory. And thank you. Any questions? That's my cue to run.
Okay, it's not quite the end of the Treasurer's report. Can I have somebody move that the Treasurer's report be accepted? Dave Curry, and seconder, Ian Beeson. All those in favour, please raise one hand. Anyone against? Okay, it's carried unanimously. And look, there is a reason why we should give another round of applause. It's a heck of a job to be a Treasurer. And we have now have a rolling subscription period. Everyone doesn't just do it at the start of the financial year. There are things that come up unexpectedly. Things have to be replaced in the apiary. There are various events that we get involved in, and it is one heck of a job, and I'm so very grateful for Roy's support and the work that he does and the professionalism that he brings to the job. So please, can we really show appreciation to Roy? Okay, now the next item we have is the election of office bearers. And I'm pleased to announce that we do have an equal number of members of nominations to vacancies. And so where we're nominating for the position of ordinary committee member or is not greater than the number to be elected, we declare each of those members to be elected to the position. I'm just looking at my notes. Great thing of having things printed on about 3 sheets of paper, so pardon me. So there was one nomination each, and I'm not going to invite someone up to come and declare me in, but simply to advise that the chairperson this year will be Stephen Boylan. The vice chairperson will be Adam Maskew. Adam, in case you don't know him, is also a key player in the Bunbury chapter and provides an important link to our regional work. Our secretary, Lyndon Hall, has renominated, and I'm very grateful, as I am grateful that our treasurer, Roy Arthur, has renominated. And so Stephen Boylan, Adam Maskew and Lyndon Hall and Roy Arthur will form the executive of the new committee. 8 positions, ordinary member positions, which is not a good title because everyone who fills those are extraordinary. And I would like to thank Lisa Bastian, David Finch, Dean Kay, Erica Knott, Stephen Lenghas, John McLaughlin, Jim McWhirter and Wayne Parsamore for nominating and being the ordinary committee members for the 21-22 WAS year. Without overdoing that point, I'd just particularly like to say a big hello to David Finch, to Erica Knott, Dean Kay, Stephen Lenghouse and Jim McWhirter, who are all new faces. We're rejoined by John McLaughlin, but we have 5 new faces on the committee, and I really look forward not just to working with them, but to their new energy and ideas. So welcome. And now we're going to move to awards and prizes. I'd just like to, I've got, now, I'll take them, okay. Pull those out. While the official awards have got out, I'm going to grab my bag of tricks. Each year, we present awards to various people, presents awards to various people who've stood out. And we don't capture everybody, but we do take the view that a volunteer organisation, we're not paying anyone, but we should acknowledge people. So we have a number of awards that I'll call people up to. Some are for people in regional chapters and they won't be here tonight, but we will make sure there's a proper presentation of their award. But before we do that, I just have a few informal presentations that I want to do, and just on my own behalf. And so if you'll humour me, I have made the point, only partly joking, about myself and IT. We have a huge database operating, and it is a complex system. And behind it, usual story, behind every successful man there's a woman. I'm probably a bit harder work because it's taken 3 women to help make me successful. But I particularly want to acknowledge, and I know they've been formally acknowledged, but I'd like to acknowledge them and the work they've done through smoke signals, Facebook, Bee Buddy groups and others, because they are often hidden. So if I can please invite up Lisa Bastian, Lyndon Hall and Jenny Boylan. And I think it's time to break with tradition where men get a bottle of grog and women get flowers. No offence to Sabrina, gardens are wonderful, but so too is alcohol. And so to thank you, Lyndon, for all the work you've done as Secretary and on smoke signals. Really, really value it. Thank you. To Lisa, your work on the Bee Buddy group and your management of technology, fantastic. Thank you so very much. And finally, to the person who has helped keep the WAS President on track so many times, but particularly has managed info at WAS, Facebook, and also been the backroom person for the training, Jenny Boylan. Thank you.
You got a kiss too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And for those of you wondering, I did buy some different drinks. I bought red for Lyndon and Lisa, but since it didn't quite seem appropriate to buy for my wife something that I would drink, I have bought her a bottle of bubbles. And now for our formal awards. I have mentioned several times and will probably mention it again, but the Bee Buddy groups have been a real success story. just the opportunity to sit and talk bees. I know for the group I'm involved with, just a cup of tea, a biscuit, and chatting to people, listening to more experienced members, working to encourage less experienced members. It's just a great way to spend an afternoon, and everybody's there for the one topic, and we can agree on most things except who has the best honey, since we all have the best honey. But this year, in our Bee Buddy survey, one thing that stood out was that not only were the Bee Buddy groups praised, but big congratulations to them. Several people, the members of their Bee Buddy group, really pushed them forward as outstanding, and they deserve acknowledgement for that. So they may or may not be here. If they are, could they come up, please? But WA Apiarist Society recognises Wayne Erasmus and celebrates your Bee Buddies, highlighting your contribution in the 2021 WAS survey. I don't think Wayne's here. The same for Colin Brune, and for Paul Davey, and I know that one of these is here. As I said, we'll present those, but we've got a lovely plaque. And WA Apiarist Society recognises Ronnie Rowe, celebrating your Bee Buddies, highlighting your contribution in the 2021 WAS survey of members. Ronnie, would you come up? Well done. That's good. I'm glad you weren't expecting it. It would have spoilt the surprise. Thank you. And I know I have one person here, but we have a dual award, which is probably more an in-joke for the chapter involved. But I have an award to the Margaret River chapter to acknowledge John Tian in grateful recognition of his role setting up the Margaret River Hive monitoring system and his willingness to educate and entertain members. And we'll present that to John and Margaret River. But I'd also like to say, because I know she's here, the WA Apiarist Society acknowledges Diane Sherwood in recognition of your active involvement in the Margaret River chapter and willingness to challenge members onwards. So Diane, I know she was here. Come on up. It is always fantastic to hear that members are bringing in, challenging other members and being lively at the meetings, and Diane has a reputation of doing that, and the chapter is richer for that.
Thank you.
Well done, thank you. We'll come down to present the other one soon.
Okay, thanks.
And finally, we have a number of Distinguished Service Awards, and these represent people who have been put forward by others or who I may have noticed, but who have really provided something that has assisted us. And I know I've probably mentioned all of them during the meeting, but it is important that we give them something tangible to say thank you for all that you've done through the year. A couple aren't here, but I'd like to point out that we will be awarding Distinguished Service Awards to Adam Maskew and to Dirk Hoss. To Adam in grateful recognition of his instrumental role in the operation of the Bunbury chapter and the establishment of the Bunbury Training Apiary. I would encourage everyone to, if they're visiting Bunbury, if you have the opportunity, please contact the WAS group down there. Email makes it very easy. And see if you can just pop into the Edith Cowan University campus there and check out their training apiary. It's a neat little unit, and they deserve a lot of congratulations for setting that up. And it means that very professional training can be provided down there with the classroom and the apiary in very close conjunction. Also wish to thank Dirk Hoss in recognition of his support for the Margaret River chapter and the tenacious operating of the hive monitoring project. It's been a bit of a long haul, and he's shown the sort of grit that enables a project like that to work. So congratulations to Dirk. But I'll go through people who are here now, and I'd first of all like to present a Distinguished Service Award to Ted Mean. This is to Ted in grateful recognition of your initiative and development of the flow hive training and your contribution to the ongoing maintenance of the apiary flow hives. He's put in a year of work, and Ted, we'd like to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ted. It's really, really grateful. And it's part of us keeping up with modern training by virtue of training people the flow hive, which has become more prevalent. But to actually develop it from scratch, as was done by the team, and then to bring in not just the training on how it's operating and giving you an idea of better use of your hive, but to give the tips and tricks and just really encourage people, and then to maintain the hives and assist, getting them re-established in the training apiary. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've mentioned his name a number of times, but I'm not going to back down on this one, even though I know he would rather I didn't. A Distinguished Service Award presented to Wayne Passmore in grateful recognition of the delivery of the WAS training program and your role in the relocation and layout of the WAS training apiary. Come on up, Wayne.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Shouldn't have done that. Much appreciated. Cheers.
Yeah. And one final one, and I'm particularly grateful to this gentleman for all the work he's done. WAS presents a Distinguished Service Award presented to John Nucky in grateful recognition of your contribution to the successful coordination and running of WAS monthly meetings and your role in the relocation and layout of the WAS training apiary. Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you.
And if I can just use John as an example that the door is never shut to volunteers. John has been on our committee, is not on the committee this year, but is still staying on supporting the meetings and importantly coordinating what's happening at the training apiary. So please, you can get involved without the risk of being taken along to committee meetings. That concludes the awards. As I say, we'll make sure the others are presented to people. I'm particularly pleased that we have our regional members being recognised, and I thank those people who put their names forward. And at this point, unless there is any items, I've not received any items of general business, so therefore I'll call the annual general meeting to a close. Yes, Ian?
Just a point of order, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move that the President's report and the committee report be moved and accepted.
Okay, I'll have a seconder from David. Those to accept the report of the committee to the AGM? Okay, we have a majority, thank you. And so now we're going to have, before we have Sabrina up here at approximately 8 o'clock, I invite you all to help finish the supper It's a one-off to this year for the catering, part of our bribing you to come here. We also have the bee stings coming out, so please have something savoury, have something sweet, and then we will get Sabrina up to talk to you and hopefully encourage you to do dynamic things in your garden for your bees.